Oh, yeah. You know I like that. How's everybody doing out there today? Welcome to your I Never... You know, hold on a minute, man. George, sing a verse, man.
You got the love, you got the power, but you just don't understand.
Why? What's she been doing?
Girl, you've been charging by the hour for your love.
Love that good old music. Welcome to your I Never Worry podcast with DB and John, where we discuss emotional intelligence with everyday people dealing with everyday situations. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this podcast may find your ears. We're so happy that you had the opportunity to join us, and we have a great episode in store for you today. Hold on one more time. What you got to do, George?
Turn your love around.
Yeah, that's right. We have Mr. Todd, the Gymkiller Mayfield, in the studio, and Miss Stacy Hogg. It's another great conversation, variety of topics, all through the lens of emotional intelligence. We want to remind you to go to ineverworry.com, get your t-shirt, your free book. The free book offer is still up there. Just sign on up and we'll get that free download right to you. Get a copy of your book, I Never Worry, written by Mr. D.B. Bedford. Also, too, check out our store, ineverworry.com/store. We have your dry fit hoodies, your shirts, and tickets. I'm not sure if there's any left, but go check. We might have a couple of going fast. Tickets are going fast. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Go get that last ticket or two to the I Never Worry retreat. April 22nd, 2 p.m., downtown Oakland on Broadway is our next retreat. Jump on that website, man. If you've been lacking, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I guess I'll tell you wait till next month, but go grab your ticket. You're going to really enjoy it. Like I said, so glad to have you here. Y'all ready to get started? It's your I Never Worry podcast right now.
All right. Welcome to the I Never Worry podcast, where we're talking to everyday people about everyday situations. Today in the house, we got Mr. Todd Mayfield, the Gymkiller.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's my homie. I call him Shalou. And this beautiful young lady over here, Miss Stacy Hogg. How you doing, Stace?
Good afternoon.
Right, and my co-host there, Mr. John Jr.
What it do?
Yeah. So thank you guys for coming out and having a conversation with us this afternoon about this really powerful skill set, emotional intelligence. So we'll just get right into it, So I'm going to start off. I'm going to ask you, Ty, what does emotional intelligence mean to you?
Well, emotional intelligence means to me is just being inclined with myself in each situation that I'm in.
Okay. When you say inclined with yourself, what do you mean when you say that?
Knowing how I feel, what I'm going to do if I'm in a situation. Just thinking of my emotions and how to keep them intact.
Okay. And why does it matter to you? Because, coming up in East Oakland, you and I growing up in Brookfield on the flats, we had some wild Fridays,
and,
man.
And I got a story why it does matter to me. And I'm a business person too. I own my own business, but I'm just gonna keep it personal. Just dealing with women.
Yeah.
I went on a date the other night, and it was all good. Everything was going nice. Me and her was chilling. The move was right. All of a sudden, she changed up at a drop of a dime. Didn't understand why. I asked her why, she didn't tell me. But we left each other, no hug, like we hugged when we first met. Didn't hug when we left. So for me, I was kind of upset. Right. And I had to take time to check myself to find out how do I really feel about this whole situation that went down.
Right.
Which in the days, I would have probably cussed her out.
Right.
Never seen her again.
Right.
learning, I need to find out what was her problem.
What? Yeah,
So
what changed?
if we can resolve what's going on, because I don't feel really too good about what's going on. So I gave it a day or so, sent her a text message, just trying to find out what was going on with her. She called me back and said she was starting to get drunk, and she didn't, and that took over. So she kind of like changed up at that moment, and she just wanted to get out. But she didn't know how to tell me that.
Right. Okay.
So
okay.
once she explained that to me, I kind of, because I did buy her 3 drinks.
Set up. It was a setup.
So let me ask you something, Todd, as far as that's concerned. Like you said earlier that like before you just would have been mad, you wouldn't have done that. So how important was it for you to put that time and space in between your response to her?
It was real important because at the time I was mad. So, I mean, when I walked away, I'm like, I ain't never messing with her again. I ain't never talking to her again. Forget her. So I don't care what she do. She called me and everything. But she did call me. I didn't answer. So at that time, I believe I probably would have still had a different type of frame of mind for the situation.
Why didn't you answer?
Because I knew I was still upset. So I'd rather not answer and then let myself get a little calmer. When I do talk to her, I could talk to her without getting upset or getting loud and just stay calm. And
you didn't want to mess it up.
no, I didn't want to mess it up. I like her. I like her, she's cool, but at the same time, I know how I know how I want to be treated.
Right.
And I know I wouldn't treat nobody like that. So my emotions definitely has changed for how I feel for people and how I think other people think too. Sometimes you got to think for other people too.
Right.
Like if I would have answered that phone call and we would have gotten to an argument, that'd have been my fault because I knew I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just give it some time sometimes.
You knew to fall back.
Right. I knew to fall back. Yes.
And I think that's important when we're talking about this strategy because the consciousness, right? So the first component of emotional intelligence is self-awareness, right? We talked about the ability to manage your own emotions. So you were honest about how you felt, right? And you knew you was not ready to deal with that feelings. So it was easier for you, maybe even been harder for you, but you made a decision not to accept the phone call. So she doesn't know how you felt in that moment. So when you connected to the energy, it was leveled in a space where she could tell you this is what really happened, And another thing about EI, right, one of the guided principles that we use is not to make assumptions, right? So you could have assumed it was anything. You had no idea. You even overlooked the fact that she got a little intoxicated and the alcohol really just threw her off and she just needed to get with her mind, just get home. And you could have told yourself a whole different narrative in your head why it didn't happen.
Vicious circle.
That vicious circle. Tell us about that, Stace.
That's creating a story that may not be true. Someone doesn't answer the phone and then you start creating a story. Oh, he's with a woman or she's with another guy and she's not answering her phone. Well, that's not true because you don't know that to be true. And so we tend to collapse what happened with our story about what happened. Well, what happened is that she didn't answer the phone or he didn't answer the phone or she didn't, right?
Right.
And so he could have created all kind of stories in his head as to why she
I didn't answer the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So she could have created all kinds of stories as to why he didn't answer the phone. And she probably did after you guys talked about it and kind of ironed it out. And so that's collapsing what happened versus the story. What happened is that he didn't answer the phone. Her story around what happened is something different.
Absolutely. And so how often does that happen in our life, like every day, right? You know what I mean? Like things happen and we start this narrative. We start this story about what it is without the facts. And I think, being patient is part of the skill set. Putting space in between your responses is part of the skill set.
I have to learn that.
Yeah,
And I think that's especially important in the world of technology because a lot of times you can receive a text message or an email.
Wow.
And you have to really understand, like, sometimes even from your kids. So like, sometimes I get a text message, I'll be like,
What?
and then I have to find myself to step back because I don't know what space that individual is in when they're sending that. Like, I don't know what's going on in their life. Like, I can't
connect. There's no connection.
Like, I don't know what's going on. So, I mean, it's like, sometimes we still got to pick up the phone.
Yep.
Like, because sometimes text messaging
could get really thrown on the context.
Because you don't know what's. I mean, that person could be having a terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
They could be going great, and all of a sudden you get this text message that say, "I need this."
No.
What?
Or what about certain typos? I got one from this guy, and it said, "What do you want from me?" And talking about emotional intelligence, y'all. I swear to God, before I text him back, I said, "I don't need nothing from you."
Right. Right.
I was just like, did you mean to say? And then when we finally talked, he said, no, I didn't mean that. I meant X, Y, Z. But we had to verbally pick up the phone.
And let's pause right there because, see, that's the thing about EI. It happens at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
So what did you say? What? You start telling yourself, what you mean? What you want from me? Blah, blah, blah.
Have you guys seen those things where you type?
Yeah. And then it erased. Right? So you made a step towards that direction. But think about it, though, right? Think about how many people don't bag out. They push play, right? And they get fired up. And then let's just even take the conversation a little deeper. And then they start telling other people how they feel about it.
Exactly.
Right? So, that's one thing to be in your own feelings, right? Then what about when you get all toxic and you start telling everybody else how you feel, right? So then you got all this damage control you got to do otherwise, because what happens to people most of the time, the reason why you ever see somebody be like, how y'all still hanging? And you was just talking about this person the other day. Because what they said in a moment, you know what I mean, is not really what they meant. But they were so emotionally charged, right? I take that back. They meant it in the moment. They meant it. But they didn't mean for it to be as hurtful, right? You know what I mean? They were expressing themselves. Because you could say the same thing a different way. I could tell you, Shalou, I'm upset that, we didn't finish doing X, Y, and Z just like this. Or I could be like, dude, I'm glad you came. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, what happened to the last time? It's two different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is two different approaches to that. But also knowing, knowing the difference. Because you can respond and you can react.
Right.
Right.
What's the difference? What's the difference?
I think reacting would have been me sending that text. What the bleep? You mean
right,
bleep,
right.
bleep? Responding was, I didn't understand your text.
Right.
You see, because that could have went two totally different ways. And a lot of times when people are upset with others, they tend to tell others how they feel and not the actual person.
Right.
And so then you have this web that keeps going around. You're venting, you're telling how you feel, but really I need to tell Todd how I feel if he offended me.
Exactly.
No, I think that's very important. Like if you're upset with someone, like use that energy. There might be that person, that real confidant that you can trust, that you can go to and say, hey, I'm feeling a certain way about how DB did this to me. Mm-hmm. But you got to make sure that person's going to keep that between the two of you, because that's how things get very messy, because you start, it becomes gossip.
Right.
Well, that's why it's important for that.
Tell one person, 10 people know.
See, that's the thing. That's why it's important to go directly to that person.
Absolutely.
If DB did something to me, I'm not going to tell Todd. I'm going to go right to you and say, you know what?
But you're not going to tell Todd when you are practicing the EI. When you're not practicing EI, you're going to tell because that's what we're talking
when you're
about.
Not practicing. You don't know. Cuzzo gonna know.
Because you're trying to express. It's charged.
Everybody gonna know.
Did you hear about?
Right.
Hey, and a lot of times, like in the past, I had trouble with that, just accepting, and I had a defense mechanism that would argue with people instead of me accepting the truth.
Everybody ain't a hater.
Or at some times where I feel like, you know what, this person is right, I need to get on the right of way. No. So I might feel like, man, I'm soft or something. I mean, even like the situation with the female I was talking